Week 6 of the NFL is underway. 5 weeks are in the books. Click, clank, lock it down. It's time to get to Week 6 must waiver wire ads right here on What's Your Fantasy. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to What's Your Fantasy. Is your host, the WayneBreezie, Crystal P. Peachy in the building. What's going on, Peachy? How's fantasy football doing for you so far? I mean, just overall, don't just sum it up. Give me a overall how you feeling about fantasy football.
To give you an adjective,
that's actually.
I mean, it absolutely sucks. It sucks so bad that I got a message from, was it Yahoo? I'm not sure who it was from. Anyway, I got a message saying that if I lose one more time, that I'm eliminated from the fantasy playoffs.
There's no way you're eliminated this fast. Dang.
You got to remember how many fantasy weeks there are.
That is true. I forgot. Well, meaning that fantasy football ends kind of like 4 weeks before the regular season ends or something like that. You're right. So that's crazy.
I'm definitely in danger of already being eliminated.
I didn't even think about that. Man, I apologize for that. Like I'm sorry that, but you got plenty of leagues. It's just one league. It's all right. That's good. That's one less league you got to worry about. Like that's how I look at it, But I do understand the feeling of being eliminated this early. And you know what? It's not your fault. It's not like you're a bad manager. It's just that a bunch of players are hurt. And, you could not have, what's crazy? Every year it happens. Yes. But every year it only happens to the players I draft.
Me too.
That's like, I'm going to stay away from this player this year. And next thing you know, I stay away from that player. They're having a great fantasy football year. And the player I draft, and then, or you can be injured by like association, right? So look at the Miami Dolphins situation. No Tua, no Hill. It's just the way it is.
That's wow. Yeah.
And I'd sit there and pass up on like a Justin Jefferson, a Jamar Chase. Because I didn't know what the hell was going on with Joe Burrow, who started off shaky, and then all of a sudden Burrow's back. I don't understand,
Yeah.
I think they be messing with us, but listen, we're sponsored by Locker, so go check out the Locker app in your app store. You got to do is download it. It's the #1 fantasy football app. They got a good promo going on where they're going to match up to $100. All right, so if you want to bet, you can bet big there. And check this out: join the TWBEN Sports League. All right, on the Locker app. All right, let me know. Send me a message when you join or whatever, and that way we can compete against one another. That would be really fun to have some fun this season. So got a lot of football left to be played. So go ahead and check out the Locker app in your app store. Also, if you guys want to support the channel, you can right there, the Cash App, $ TWBEN, and the Venmo and PayPal. You can just use the @ symbol at TWBEN. All right, Peachy, let's get down to don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new as well. Feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. If you guys have any questions about fantasy football, please ask them in the comment section. That way we can get to them before Thursday, before Sunday, when football kicks off. All right, we have no problems doing that. That's what we were looking for. We're looking to answer questions about your fantasy football league. Peachy, let's get down to this week's fantasy football injury report.
God. So one thing about this year for fantasy that's crazy is there's a lot of injuries quick. Normally, players get hurt, but not at this rapid rate like there is now. Every time you turn around, somebody majors out. So we're going to start off with the quarterbacks. Derek Carr has an oblique injury. He's week to week. The Saints will have another quarterback taking his place. And some good news, quarterback Anthony Richardson is on pace to play this week. So that is fantastic news right there. On the running back side, we have Aaron Jones, who hurt his hip. So he's week to week. But the Packers, I mean, sorry, I'm so used to where he was at. The Vikings are on a bye week. So we'll see what happens
That's good for him.
when that comes out right there. And so Jalen Warren, his knee is still keeping him out. So he's going to be out for this week. Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon, okay, this ankle injury is weird. And it was weird to me. And now it's weird to major media. It's definitely weird to major media as well, because it's like the Texans aren't saying something, like they're keeping something from it, because they said he was going to play and then he's not going to play, and they say he was going to play and whatever. So that's just something to keep an eye on with Mixon. Some of the
I mean,
wide receiver,
he's not practicing. So if he's not going to practice, don't think he's going to play. Like you know what I mean? So like every time you think he's going to suit up for a practice, especially the practice right before the game,
yeah,
he's not participating in it. I wonder if it's like a high ankle sprain and it's
it
severe.
must be. I think
Yeah,
it is too.
me too.
It's got to be something. So on the wide receiver, and we have Rashee Rice, who is out for the season with he had knee surgery. He's out with the LCL, so
Oh,
they're not bringing him back until next year.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that came
Ain't
out
that some
today. Yeah,
Hold on.
so gotta find you a receiver if you have Rashee
See what I'm saying?
Rice.
I'm
I
going on
know.
my leagues right now, dropping his ass from
Mm-hmm.
the report from the IR.
Wide receiver kick returner Cordell Patterson remains out with ankle. Devontae Adams, of course, we know he's in trade talks.
Hamstring.
Oh yeah, and a hamstring, so they say. Um, wide receiver Nico Collins has a hamstring injury, and his is now week to week, so he is not expected to play right now. Then Philly gets some great news. They get their two wide receivers back this week, AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, going against the Browns. So that should be intriguing. That's actually a spill thing there that I was going to keep. But tight end Evan Ingram is expected to play also. Then there's the safety Talanoa Hufanga, who we got the bad news because of his wrist injury. Tore some ligaments in it. Is going to be out at least a month. They are debating IR. And our kicker, 49ers, Jake Moody, high ankle sprain, at least up to 4 weeks. He's going to be out. The 49ers have got another kicker. No, I would not run and get the kicker that we have for the 49ers.
I say get him.
Not yet.
I say get him. You have look if Jake Moody's going to be out for a minute, he's probably going to hit the IR.
Yeah.
Better grab that Niners kicker. Don't worry about if listen. I say you better pick him up. Matter of fact, wait till you see who we got on the waiver wire. I say get him because the Niners are going to be attempting a lot of field goals. They can't score in the red zone, and that'll be an opportunity to get you some points.
You know what? I didn't even think of any of that. That really makes a whole lot of sense. A whole lot of sense. So on the teams that are on a bye are the Kansas City Chiefs, the Los Angeles Rams, the Miami Dolphins, and the Minnesota Vikings. So if you're anything like my lineups are, I got to get a lot of work done on my fantasy leagues this week. A lot of switching out. So,
well, I want to say that the injuries are getting smaller by the number, but some of these injuries could be devastating because if you had Derek Carr as your starting quarterback, I don't know if you're in a 10-team league, 12-team league, if you're in a 14-team league, you're effed, you're screwed, right? So if you're in a 10-team league, there's going to be some guys out there. That's what the waiver wire is for. That's what the show is all about. So Carr's going to probably be out for 3 weeks. If you were high on him because he was a top fantasy quarterback so far this year, make sure you put him on your reserve list, put him on your reserves and find somebody to pick up. We got a couple quarterbacks you can probably look into to get you by for the next couple of weeks. I don't know if, well, I'll tell you what, we'll get into that. Let's review real quick the top 10 scoring leaders. All right. The top 10 scoring leaders for this week. A lot of quarterbacks on this list, and that is mainly what I was getting at. Like, but Jamar Chase, man, he had a day. 41.3 points.
Mm-hmm.
Kirk Cousins threw for 5 touchdowns.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's.
Godly. Like Kirk Cousins was killing.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking PPR too, ladies and gentlemen. So Kirk Cousins was killing 35.4 points. Joe Burrow, this was the week of the quarterbacks, unfortunately, that got in the 30s. We had three quarterbacks in the 30s. Joe Burrow, 34.8 points. Lamar Jackson, who played against Joe Burrow, had to put up 33.4 points. Real close, right? And the Ravens were able to pull off the win. Drake London on Thursday Night Football put up 33.4 points. He was tied for fourth, or whatnot. Darnell Mooney, another Falcon. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
There's a lot of Falcons in this top
There's three
10.
Falcons in the top 10, Peachy. Three Falcons in the top. But there's also three Bengals because
Yeah.
guess who's right under Darnell Mooney at 31.5? T. Higgins. T. Higgins put up 29.3.
Yeah.
So Jamar Chase was the guy, but T. Higgins was the second guy. Crazy. I think this is number 8. I think this is Garrett Wilson's best game.
Mm-hmm.
Garrett Wilson, 29.1 points. He's gonna have a new head coach, so I don't know what's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Going forward, but Garrett Wilson finally made the top 10. DJ Moore, Chicago Bear, bit of a surprise. He hasn't been having a great season. But
They played the Panthers.
that is true. But it's not. But okay, so you're saying the Panthers defense is suspect, but the
They're
Panthers were
missing a bunch of
scoring.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
And number 10, Indianapolis Colts backup quarterback Joe Flacco.
The GOAT. That's
I
what
ain't
people
calling
are
him no
calling
damn
him.
goat, but he do got a Super Bowl ring. I
That's
ain't
what
gonna,
people are calling him. They're calling him the GOAT.
all right. Joe the Goat Flacco over here, 26.6 points. And those are your top 10 scoring leaders, PPR, in week 5. Peachy, who is your surprised top 10 player on this list?
It would literally have to be the GOAT.
I, I just I just feel like Joe is going to be entering top 10s. You know what Joe does? He throws the ball 95 yards down the field.
Yes, he does. And he also got points for running because he ran that one long run that he had.
I wouldn't count on that, but
No, of
he's a
course not.
veteran and he knows when to
Yeah.
take off. Like,
It
you know what I
was
mean?
it was really crazy because the reason why that the Ravens, wanted to chose to get Lamar Jackson is because they wanted something different. They wanted, a quarterback that was mobile that can do all these things. And that's why it was so funny to watch Flacco do this because that was, something that he never did. Now, do you think that they're gonna put Anthony Richardson back in? Because that's what they're talking about on their pages. Even though
Oh,
Flacco
I
is
Anthony Richardson ain't
doing
it.
good. I
I
know.
the Colts are
I am
finding.
glad that you see it that way because I do as well.
Well, let me change that up a little bit. He's not good as a quarterback, but as a
Right.
fantasy football quarterback, he's great because
Hmm.
he's going to run.
Yes, that's true.
And he's probably going to run for touchdowns, which are 6 points opposed to 4 points. So, from a fantasy football perspective, when he's healthy, you
Hmm.
absolutely want him in. The issue is the moment he rushes for that touchdown, he's going to be unhealthy. Like, it's like as soon as
Right.
he gets hit, he's like paper mache thin.
Yes. So,
So like I don't know. I didn't even it didn't even dawn on me. I totally forgot that Anthony Richardson was the Colts quarterback because Joe Flacco has been, you
oh
know,
yeah.
so like put the asterisks around Joe Flacco. We're gonna get to our waiver wire pickups, all right? So put
Hmm.
the asterisks around Joe Flacco. All right. We're gonna get to our waiver wire pickups for
Okay.
week
All
6.
right.
I kind of feel like Joe Flacco should be one of the guys you add,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know anymore because now you're telling me Anthony Richardson may be back, Peachy. So like I'm a little I'm a little nervous now when
I
it
know.
comes to adding him.
I agree.
All right, let's get to this, man.
All
This is
right.
gonna be fun. All right, so quarterback. I feel like you got two options. You got Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has been probably one of the most consistent quarterbacks after football has started. And I hate to say it, but this dude, let's see, where is he as far as quarterbacks? He's number 14 as far as an average. But we're talking about waiver wire pickups, right? So you didn't draft Daniel Jones, but Daniel Jones is ahead of Patrick Mahomes. Jones is ahead of Mahomes. Let that sink in. He's averaging about 15.2 points a week. All right. Now, if you drafted Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, Baker Mayfield, Joe Burrow, Geno Smith, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott, I feel like by now, PG, they picked up Geno Smith. They've probably picked up Justin Fields. They probably picked up Sam Darnold by now. He's averaging 17.3. So I feel like the new waiver wire ad this week should be Daniel Jones. He went from 6.9 to 22.1 points. So week one, 6.9, week two, 18.3, 19.4, week three, I'm sorry, week four, 10.5. They ran the ball really well in week four. And then week five, 22.1. What are your thoughts on Daniel Jones? Do you agree or disagree?
I agree with you for the simple fact that Daniel Jones was able to handle business without having his number one wide receiver out there, Malik Neighbors.
Interesting.
I was very, very impressed with that. That he was able to get the job done and get a victory for the Giants without Malik Neighbors.
That's a good point,
So you
PG.
absolutely need to get Daniel Jones because I he may be improving and he may improve game to game. And if you pick him up, like Breezy said, if you don't have none of the all stars and you need a quarterback, it's not going to hurt you to get Daniel Jones. That's for sure.
That is
I agree.
true. And the Giants may have found them their future running back in Tyrone Tracy. So
Yes.
if they're running the ball, that's play action pass. So Wandell Robinson, wide receiver. I felt like there was a Slayton signing. Whoever their other receivers
Yeah,
are, or not
Darius
Slayton.
Slayton.
It was it's not Darius Slayton. Shepard. Who's their other receiver? It's not as Wandell, or is it Darius Slayton?
It's Darius Slayton.
I was right. Okay, I
Yeah,
don't.
you were right.
Right. Okay.
Hmm.
It's crazy. That's right. Shepard's on a different team now.
Yes.
Darius Slayton had a game, had a
Hmm.
week. So Daniel Jones is out there slinging that rock. So you might want to pick him up if you are in need, if you got a quarterback injury, if you're playing, if you didn't draft well at the quarterback because you had a lower pick and you're kind of like living off the waiver wire to figure out which quarterback is going to do well. They actually have this week. Who do the Giants have this week? Are they on there? They're not on a bye, right?
No, not this week.
The Giants got Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I can't believe the Bengals are 1-4.
Because of their defense. Their defense is not the same. They're missing a couple important defensive pieces. This is a good week actually to have Daniel Jones. If you need a quarterback, it's a great week to do that. Another thing that I would like to say about not having Malik Neighbors, this gives Daniel Jones a chance to kind of connect with other receivers. That way, when Neighbors gets back, he doesn't have to force, he started forcing balls to him and stuff. This gives him the confidence that he needs to be able to, get to all of his receivers. So this is a great waiver wire pickup.
All right, let's get to the running backs. We got Jaguars running back Tank Bigsby. All right, he put up 25.9 points. Tank Bigsby. I don't know what happened to Travis Etienne, but I can clearly see that they're moving on. I expect Travis Etienne to be traded by the trade deadline. And I feel like this is the kid that they're going to rock with, and they got probably somebody to spell him or whatever. 25.9 points. He had the most points at the running back position in week 6. So if you're going to pick up a guy, I just want to make sure they're not on a buy. Even if they are on a buy, you might want to grab him because if he's available, go get these guys. They're playing Chicago. Chicago got a tough defense, though. Chicago does have a tough defense, but you couldn't run on them. And if you can run on them, you might want to do it with this guy right here. What are your thoughts on Tank Bigsby?
The only thing that I have to say is that the Tank is making a name for himself in Jacksonville, and you are 100% right about ETN. He is literally good as gone. So, because all the talk is about Tank, how he's able to move down the field, how he's able to do all these awesome things, how he's able to catch all these different things that Tank is able to do. So the Tank is taking over Jacksonville. Definitely a great waiver wire pickup. And yes, he will still get points going against this Chicago Bears defense.
Yeah, especially catching out of the backfield.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of his strengths. I don't know what's going on. I know Travis Etienne is averaging um, I would say 11.6 points, but every week it's like they're giving him less production. He did put up 12 points in week 5, but would you look at what Tank Bigsby did, who's like their change of pace back, he put up 25.9. So he only put up over more than half of what ATN did. So you might want to pick him up. I just don't feel like ATN is going to be a focal part of this offense anymore. It's so weird. So weird just how it's going over there. It's just weird to me. Next running back, I think I mentioned his name, Tyrone Tracy from the New York Giants. He put up, he put up some points last week. I could get you the points right now. It was actually like his first game, if I'm not mistaken. And he did his thing. What are your thoughts? They ran the ball really well. He had over 130, almost 130 yards, if I'm not mistaken, on the ground. I think he had a touchdown. Just curious to know what your thoughts are on Tyrone Tracy.
It's really interesting that Tyrone Tracy is already making his mark for the Giants, because when we were going through the draft and we were trying to figure out like what kind of uprising stars should we pick, this was actually one of them that we had discussed, for our leagues, for our draft leagues and stuff. Somebody you might want to look at down the line and stuff like that. So very happy for Tyrone Tracy. I feel like that he is going to continue to get a lot of carries, a lot of catches, as it shows right there. He's actually getting catches. So definitely a good PPR guy to pick up. You can run on the Bengals,
Mhm.
apparently. So, yes, definitely pick up Tracy. Running backs are few and far between. So if you can grab him, run. Don't walk to pick him up if you need a running back.
I agree. He only put up 14 points PPR, but that's because he didn't score. But he did have over 129 yards and some catches as well. So, like, this is a kid that I can see, dabble like featuring him more in the offense, especially with the injury to Singletary. The Giants are looking to move the ball on the ground, which allows them to do stuff in the air. So, I mean, he's ranked. He was tied with James Conner last week. Let that sink in. So I'm telling you, look for Tyrone Tracy or Tyrone Tracy. I'm not sure how you pronounce his name. Spelled Tyrone, but it might be pronounced Tyron.
Never
Make
know.
sure you go ahead and you pick this kid up. If you are in need of a running back off of the waiver wire for week 6. All right, for week 6. Let's keep it going. We got some wide receivers. Darnell Mooney. I shouldn't even be doing this show right now. I should be grabbing him in every league because for some reason he's finding a way to put up points. And for some reason, this is the guy that Kirk Cousins loves going to. It's almost like he trusts where he's going to be out there on the football field. What are your thoughts on Darnell Mooney?
Darnell Mooney might be the best acquisition that the Falcons had of the offseason. Like, seriously. This dude is balling in Atlanta and has become one of Kirk Cousins' favorite targets. And like Breezy said, he just knows where to find him out there. And he finds him often and more often. And he's preventing Bijan Robinson from getting those nice PPR catches that he used to get, because he trusts Mooney a lot more. So there's definitely a connection that is already happened there and just growing and growing. So yes, if you need a wide receiver, you definitely need to go get Darnell Mooney, especially if some of your wide receivers are on buys, which I'm sure a lot of you have that issue. Like Breezy said, like we need to be getting them. Like right now, we need to be picking them up.
For sure. Because I know he wasn't drafted. He's ranked 16th
Exactly.
amongst wide receivers in PPR leagues. He's averaging about 10.2 points per game. And I know that's kind of like what makes people feel kind of weary about it. I tell you what, he's right there, averaging the same amount of points as Stephon Diggs, and right above Stephon Diggs is CeeDee Lamb. And so I'm like, wait a minute, I could get the same. CeeDee Lamb is averaging 10.3 points per game. 10.3 points per game. So this is a kid you might want to pick up, especially since Kirk Cousins is featuring him. This is the guy he's going to. I know he's not a top 10 fantasy guy, but he's definitely in the top 20. So you might want to go ahead and grab him up, snatch him up, get him off your waiver wire, add him to your roster. Let's keep it moving. Got another wide receiver sighting. Juju Smith-Schuster put up 20 points on Monday Night Football. Clearly, this is a guy that Patrick Mahomes has been looking for. I felt like their offense, he's not Rashee Rice, but he's a guy that Patrick Mahomes trusts. 20 points last week. Who do the Chiefs got this week? Let's just double check real quick one time for the money. Are the Chiefs on a bye this week?
I think they're on a bye week this week.
All right, so they're on a bye.
Yes, the Chiefs
so you
are on
might listen. You can wait, but he's gonna get snatched up.
Mm-hmm.
You can wait, but he's gonna get snatched up. If you're looking for another receiver on a bye, don't worry. I got other receivers you can get. We'll handle that after that. But just what are your thoughts on Juju, real quick?
The only thing I want to say is Juju has made his way to this Chiefs roster, and finally, because of the unfortunate season-ending injury to Rashee Rice, is going to get a lot of looks and targets in this offense now. And I think that this Mahomes connection that he's making with Juju Smith is the real thing. So if you're going to need a wide receiver in the future past the bye week, you still want to pick up Juju because somebody else will. He was talked about a lot in fantasy circles about being picked up. So you definitely need to grab him if he's still available.
Get him. And if you're looking for another receiver because he's on a bye week, there's a couple of guys. I think there's a guy that's already on my list, and I'm just trying to just double check to see if there's anybody else. Obviously, if you don't have Rashid Shaheed, you might want to pick him up. He's been consistent every week. No one's picking up Alan Lazard, and I'm not sure why. But I would get the guy that it seems like that's who, what you call it, Aaron Rodgers likes to throw it to. It's that old savvy vet receiver. He only put up 9.4 points last week, but he's averaging 9.6 points. And the key is to have more points than everybody else, right? So if you got to drop a Rashee Rice, if you got to drop some of these guys, you better pick up somebody that's consistently putting up, I would say, an average at least of almost 10 points a week in your roster. So if you don't want to get Juju this week, look to get Allen this week because the Jets are playing. I know the Jets are playing Buffalo, and Buffalo's defense is weird. They're not great anymore. So that's just a quick thought. Tight end. If you didn't pick up Tucker Kraft last week, make sure you get him this week. He's the number one tight end in fantasy football last week. You might want to get him this week. Let me check and see who the Packers are. The Packers look like they're on a bye as well. Nope. The Packers are playing the Cardinals, and I guarantee you they'll find a way to beat the Cardinals. Sorry. I felt like that was a shot. Let's hurry up and end the show. That was a shot. That was a shot.
That's all right. We're still bitter.
He put up 24.8 points, Peachy. If you don't got Tucker Kraft by now,
get him.
They gave up a touchdown to George Kittle, which means they're not covering tight ends very well. Get Tucker Kraft. This is the week.
Yep.
Nothing to add, right, Peachy?
No, nothing to add.
You're still bitter. I got you. All right, here's the receiver that you should be salivating over if Joe Flacco is the quarterback. See, there's a catch-22 here. If Joe Flacco's the quarterback, Alec Pierce is the guy you want to get. All right. Peachy, what are your thoughts on Alec Pierce? And before you give me your thoughts, I just want to let everybody know he is a top 10 fantasy wide receiver, PPR. He's averaging 11 points this year. He's put up a total of 54.8 points. He had 2 weeks where it was underneath that 10 point, but the week one, big throws down the field from Their quarterback, 18.5, 11.6. Then you saw the dip in the production last week, 19.4 from Joe Flacco, hit with a couple of bombs. Like, this is a guy I would not, I would go after now. If he's available. He may not be available.
The caveat that Breezy said is absolutely right. If Joe Flacco is the quarterback, I feel like that they just, in practice, I feel like that Flacco, being the backup, I feel like that they have a lot of a chemistry building. And that's what it is. And Joe Flacco seems to trust this guy. And he seems to be open when Flacco throws the ball down the field. He seems to be open for it. So he's definitely a great PPR guy for the flex, especially. And who knows, later he may actually come out flex and then he'll just be just a wide receiver.
Good
So
point. Good point. I mean, if they're playing the Titans, they're playing the Titans.
who are
So,
pretty suspect.
yeah, like, so it's like, I say go. I say go get him. They're playing the Titans. Let me just figure out where the Titans defense is ranked as far as passing, because that's what you want to know.
Mm-hmm.
The Titans are dooby 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 doo. Actually, the Titans defense is tough. They're number one in passing. They're only giving up 243.8 points per game. I forgot they got Legere Sneed over there. They
You
got
know,
a pretty good secondary.
I did too.
But I
Forgot about
think
that.
Pierce can slip behind them if Flacco's the
Mm,
guy.
yeah.
So they're playing they're playing a pretty good top. They're playing a number one passing defense and they're playing a number one total defense, I would say, in the NFL.
But you're
They
you
give up 124 yards per game. Oh God.
you would put him in the flex spot if you were gonna get him. So
For
if
sure.
you need a flex, then even if he just gets a couple of points this week, you have him in your flex spot. So they'll still get you something. But who
100.
knows?
You're,
Because like
you're
Breezy
on the money.
said, he might be able to slip past and
Well, that's what it
you
seems
never
like
know.
defenses are doing, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
not like he's burning. He's running these kind of routes,
Yeah.
and then he stops, and they forget, and then he takes
Mm-hmm.
off, and then Flacco's like, "I can hit you,"
Yeah.
So good pickup. Listen, Peachy says no. I'm saying yes. Matthew Wright is the kicker for the 49ers. He just
He
got
looks
signed
like he's
today.
12.
That dude looked like he's 12. You might want to go pick him up, and that was when he was with the Jags. Listen, y'all. You can laugh. I say get him up.
Oh
I
my
think he'll
God.
get you 10 points this week, easy, straight up, minimum
Okay.
9 points. That's my thing. Peachy, you're not agreeing with this. I could tell you're like, I ain't
It's
seen him
just
kick yet.
and now that I see
I'm gonna go right to the
I'm
defense.
scared.
Listen, make sure you pick up the Texans defense. I don't know now. Now hear me out. The Patriots might be a little different this week. Will the Texans be prepared? Because Drake May is going to be the starting quarterback.
That's right.
All right. So the announcement has been made. And will D'Amico have his defense picked up? But I tell you, they're still the Patriots. They got some guys that can make plays. Ramondre Stevenson was a lot better last week. That kid Jalen Polk might be a wide receiver you might want to pick up off the waiver wire. But wait one more week so we can see what the May to Polk looks like. We can see what Drake May to Jalen Polk looks like. I would wait one more week. I just feel like this might be a good week, but I'm going with the Texans defense here. Peachy, any thoughts on that Texans defense? They had to play the Bills last week. They gave up points, but that's Josh Allen. Now you're talking about a rookie.
Yeah. I think that the Texans defense is ready to feast. I think this might wind up being the number one defense of week 6 when it's all said and done. I feel like that this Texans team is gonna eat Drake May's first time out there. I know that they don't really know anything about him, but the one guy who does know about Drake May is someone who hasn't long been out of college himself, and that's CJ Stroud. Watched him apparently and watched film on him and everything. So yeah, I think that the Texans defense is going to be really good this week. So that's a great one that you need to pick up if you can find them on the waiver wire, because a lot of people have the Texans.
Not a lot. I've seen them on
Oh,
a
really?
lot of man. Like a lot of
Wow.
people have not. They've been dropping the Texans because they're giving up
Oh, they've been
20 plus
dropping them.
points.
Got it.
Yeah,
Got it.
they're giving up a lot of
Understand.
points. But
Understood.
this is a week, like I said, if they're available,
Yeah,
there's a possibility that they might not be available, like you said. But I do know that the Texans been giving up 20 points, 30 points.
they
They're
have
not they're
been
not
bad.
scoring
Yeah.
high defensively. You know what I mean? But listen, guys, that is your waiver wire pickups for week 12, man. You guys are gonna want to make sure you grab these players. Trust me, trust us, trust us, right here on What's Your Fantasy. Before we dip up out of here, Peachy, must start and must sit for week 6. Must start, must sit for week 6.
I literally have one right here. Let me give you my sit first.
Okay.
Sit Tyler Lockett. Actually, I don't even know why people still have Tyler Lockett. It's went down the whole thing, but sit Tyler Lockett on
He's
Thursday Night Football.
they play in San Francisco. Watch him have a game because you said sit him.
No, right?
Interesting.
He hasn't hardly done anything. He's not even getting that many targets. Like he's just, kind of like the one that's just, nobody really thinks about, nobody even worried about. But like you said, Breezy, watch that be the one that they go to the most. But that's who I would sit. I would sit Tyler Lockett. As far as starting, let me see. I was debating one right here. Think of one real quick. I can think of. So I had a list. I guess I would have to go with let me go with George Kittle.
Really?
I think that this Seattle game, I think this is gonna be a Kittle game.
Okay. No, no, no. I got you. I like that actually.
Hmm.
I,
Yeah.
I actually like that. Start George Kittle. Their safety, we're not sure what's going on with Julian Love.
Right.
I don't know if he's super healthy, but like that might be a really good matchup. My sit this week is Michael Pittman because he's playing against the number one passing defense. I feel like Legere Sneed will be on him and he'll be a
Mhm.
non-factor.
Yeah.
Henceforth, why you need to pick up Alec Pierce because
It's a good
Pittman will be
one.
probably on lock, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Hmm.
I don't like I this is so funny because when I think about who is a must start, I'm starting. I can tell you right now, I'm starting the whole Detroit Lions running back crew. Like they're playing the Cowboys, and the
Oh
Cowboys can't stop the
yes.
run to save their life.
They're
And
missing so many pieces on defense.
that is 100%
That's a
correct.
great idea.
I would start that if you got David Montgomery, if you got Jameer Gibbs, put them suckers in. If you got both of them, like I do, like a dumbass, man, make sure you start both of them. You know what I'm saying? But you know what's funny? I drafted both of them and I start both of them, and they both do their damn thing because it's like just when you think David Montgomery's out of the picture, here comes trying to close out the game. And he ends up getting 100 yards and a touchdown. So it's 16 points right there. Like it's so weird. It's so weird. But Dan Campbell definitely uses both of his running backs. He knows how to use both of his running backs. I think he started to understand Jameer Gibbs' strengths. He's good. He's quick. Outside zone guy, inside guy, David Montgomery. And so I would start the Detroit Lions running backs against the Dallas Cowboys. That is your week 6 waiver wire ads NFL fantasy show from the What's Your Fantasy crew. We'll see you back next week for week 7. Don't forget, you got teams on the bye week, y'all. Don't forget, don't forget, don't forget. Unless you're playing us, please forget, please forget, please forget.
Right.
Peace out.